Hi everybody, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, I just have to comment on the devastating effects of what has just recently happened in Alaska. So normally when I'm talking about Alaska, I'm talking about one of two things. I'm talking about what a great time I'm having in Alaska, or how beautiful the scenery is, or I'm talking about residents basically dealing with a rock slide or thinking on limiting cruise ships. That's normally the stories, but this story transcends all those kind of stories because they just had the Mendenhall Glacier lake had sort of a bursting, if you will, that actually caused flooding into the Mendenhall Plains, which is home to about 100 or so homes out there. Now, the glacier lake from Mendenhall Glacier actually ended up raising the water level about 16 feet inland and completely flooded out the homes and everything. Now, luckily enough that this was a relatively slow happening. It wasn't like a dam bursting, although, technically it happened within 48 hours, which seems pretty fast, but it could have been much worse had it been a spur of the moment thing, like a dam bursting effect, because the local authorities had time to rush down there and they had time to evacuate all the residents. I mean, you've had over 100 homes flooded, a whole area completely covered underwater, cars buried, etc. And there have been so far no fatalities and no injuries due to the flood. Now, the governor has declared a state of emergency, which is good for those folks living there and for the town itself of Juneau, because now they can claim emergency funds and claim all that money that they're spending on this emergency and the shelters and the police and the fire, etc., etc. They can get reimbursed for all this money from the government once it's declared a state of emergency. And then we have, of course, people's homes that have been absolutely devastated. Like I said, over 100 homes, 300-400 people possibly completely out of their house and may not be able to return. So there's going to be a long list of things that need to be done. Corrections need to be done as far as fixing roads, fixing electricity, repairs to the house, checking to see once the water subsided enough to get back in, what the actual damage is, insurance assessments, etc., etc. Many people now are staying with friends down there, or they are, of course, staying in a shelter as well. So yeah, absolutely devastating news again for Alaska, who seems to have had nothing but, like, the past 4 years or so, every year there seems to be something that happens in Alaska that, is like different than anywhere else at the time and is absolutely like crazy. Remember when Canada wouldn't open up, so cruise ships had to go through a whole new chain of command for being able to sail from United States to go into Alaska without stopping in Canada on the way back. They had to get a special legislation for a year. And then we had the collapse of near the railway and covering of railway tracks. And then just recently, the White Pass Railway actually had a landslide, cut them off, and the passengers weren't able to get back to the ship. And now this news where people's homes have been obliterated and completely flooded out. And it's a very sad state of affair right now. Like I said, the best news that came out of all that was that the people themselves, there's been no fatalities so far and no injuries. It could have been so much worse. It really could have been so much worse. I just had to come on. I was just turned on the news. I finally had a satellite system because we're in the mountains here in Greenland and Iceland, and I was finally able to get a good news service, and I saw that come out, and it kind of floored me a lot. You know, if you follow this channel at all, that Alaska is absolutely one of my favorite destinations. I've been to Alaska more than anywhere else in the world, and I usually go at least once a year. I think I have done 22 out of 23 years in a row in Alaska now. It's absolutely the people down there, the wilderness, the beauty of nature, the sparkling clean water, the fresh air. You just don't get much better than that. Unless you come to Iceland and Greenland, and it's pretty much the same here. As far as the crisp, clean nature of the world is down here. But when I heard Alaska got hit again with this bad news, I'm glad everyone's okay, and now I just hope that everybody can recover, and it's not too long before not only the government but the insurance companies, etc., help these people out to get them started all again. And yeah, it's going to be a few months minimum before a lot of people get back to normal, if they ever do again. Like I said, some people may be covered by insurance, other people may not. And you can only imagine just how devastating it is to lose everything you possibly own. So we are definitely thinking of you here, everybody in Alaska, especially in Juneau. And again, I'm so glad that there's been no fatalities, no injuries so far reported. And that's the best news. Now, the next best news is to get everybody recovered as fast as possible. Well, I do hope you appreciate this news update. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel logs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation. And again, thinking of you there in Juneau, and so glad at least, no matter how devastating this is, that you remained safe. Now, you know what? I think I'm going to insert here one of my favorite spots in Alaska. Have a look.